Let's be honest, we all love a good scary story. But have you ever stopped to think about what makes some stories, well, what makes them really get under your skin? It's not always about jump scares or some monster in the closet. Today, we're going to dissect the mechanics of true horror, looking at real accounts to figure out what genuinely, truly makes us afraid.
And that's really the core question, isn't it? Fiction is one thing. You can close the book, turn off the movie. But when a story is presented as true, the fear just hits different. It's not just on the screen anymore. It feels like it could step right out into your own life. So what is the formula? What separates a simple spooky tale from that genuine, real-world dread?
Okay, let's dive in. To answer our question, we're going to break down 3 absolutely chilling narratives from the YouTube channel Mr. Nightmare. We're talking a couple being harassed in their dream home, a woman being stalked by total strangers, and a family vacation that goes horribly wrong. By deconstructing them, we're going to find the terrifying DNA they all share.
First up, we've got the story of a young couple. They just moved into their dream home, the whole 9 yards. But that dream quickly turns into a nightmare as men from a neighboring property start this campaign of escalating intimidation. And here's the thing, it's not with direct threats. It's with this really unnerving, boundary-crossing behavior that turns their sanctuary into a place of constant gnawing anxiety. Next, we meet Sunshine. She's a woman who managed to escape a really controlling relationship, only to find herself being haunted in a completely new, terrifying way. Her ex's private words, little phrases only they would know, start coming out of the mouths of complete strangers. It's this relentless campaign of what she calls psychological graffiti, where literally anyone could be a messenger for her tormentor. And for our final case study, a big family getaway. They rent a spacious Airbnb on one of Michigan's Great Lakes. What's supposed to be a fun, memorable trip becomes an absolute nightmare when this unnerving, silent presence begins terrorizing them at their isolated rental. They're using loud noises and symbolic threats to just shatter their sense of peace. So let's start our analysis with the first and maybe the most fundamental theme that connects all of these stories, the violation of the one place on Earth where you're supposed to feel absolutely 100% secure. We all share this idea of what a home is. It's our sanctuary, right? It's our private space, the one place we can retreat to from all the chaos of the outside world. But in these stories, that expectation is completely flipped on its head. The home isn't a shield at all. It becomes the very stage where all the terror unfolds, making the victims feel exposed and vulnerable exactly where they should feel safest. And look at how these boundaries are breached. It's not about stealing something. In that first story, men just walk into the couple's garden like they own the place. For Sunshine, it's her doormat getting flipped over. A tiny thing, but so deeply personal and invasive. At the vacation rental, it's the sheer violence of someone banging on the garage door and later actually trying the basement door. Every single act sends one clear message. Your walls can't protect you. We can get to you whenever we want.
Now this builds into our second theme, because this isn't about brute force. This is about psychological warfare. The true horror in these stories comes from the calculated, deliberate methods the harassers use to just mentally break down their victims.
This one quote, wow, it illustrates the point perfectly. A barista says this to the woman in our second story. To anyone else, it's a perfectly normal, cheerful greeting. But to her, it's a weapon. Sunshine was the sarcastic nickname her controlling ex used. And this is how the terror works. They take something personal, something intimate, and they twist it into a tool for relentless public torment. It makes her question her own sanity. And the scary thing is, none of this is random. Look at the calculated progression in Sunshine's story. It starts small, with what seem like casual remarks from strangers. Then it escalates to them repeating exact private phrases. Then, a physical object, the doormat, is changed and a threat is written on it. It all culminates in a knock on her hotel room door, on a supposedly vacant floor. Each step is designed to isolate her and prove the stalker's reach is absolutely limitless. You see this same playbook in the other stories too. The tactics are eerily similar. You have the silent, unnerving staring to establish a presence. Then come the symbolic threats, like that bizarre image of a masked man posed like Jesus on the cross, or the demonic gesture cards. They're all meant to intimidate and mock the victims. And finally, you have auditory terror, using strange noises at specific times, whistling after 2 a.m., loud bangs around 3 a.m., to prey on that primal fear we all have of the dark.
And this all leads to the third crucial element, the one that makes everything so much worse.
That terrifying feeling of being completely alone, completely defenseless, especially when the very systems designed to protect you fail.
So, what do the victims do? They try to get help, right? That couple in the first story, they didn't file one police report. They filed multiple reports. They did everything you're supposed to do, documenting the harassment week after week, but the intimidation just kept coming.
And this is the response they got. After reporting a masked man staring at their house for a full 30 minutes, the police told them it wasn't illegal to stare at someone's property. I mean, just think about how chilling that is. The stalkers are operating in this legal gray area. They're not committing obvious crimes, so the system that's supposed to stop criminals is totally powerless, leaving the victims feeling dismissed and completely unprotected.
And this failure of the system echoes across all the stories. You have police dismissing psychological harassment. You have the Airbnb host who claims she'll check security footage but is then never heard from again. And our legal system, well, it's just not equipped to deal with something as insidious as outsourced stalking or psychological graffiti. This failure forces the victims to fend for themselves, which just amplifies their fear and their isolation.
So let's put it all together. What do these three themes, the violation of safe spaces, the psychological warfare, and the systemic failure, what do they tell us about our own modern anxieties? Why do these specific stories hit so incredibly hard?
Well, here it is, the recipe for modern fear. Step 1, infiltrate a safe space. Take away their sanctuary. Step 2, use psychological tactics, creating terror without breaking any obvious laws. And Step 3, isolate the victim, exploiting the failure of the very systems they turn to for help. It's a trifecta that makes these true stories so profoundly disturbing.
Ultimately, these stories resonate so strongly because they tap into very real, very contemporary fears. Think about it. In a world of social media, data breaches, and constant connectivity, that line between our public and private lives is getting blurrier every day. These stories show us the terrifying endpoint of that erosion, a world where our personal details aren't just data anymore, they're ammunition. And that leaves us with one final, very unsettling thought. Sunshine's stalker turned total strangers into his puppets. The couple's home was made transparent by neighbors who watched their every move. So, in a world where anyone can be found, where any stranger can be a proxy, the chilling question these stories force us to ask ourselves is, how safe are you, really?